Would you have the courage to drop out of college at 19 and join a beer startup company and rise to the senior vice president of sales? That's the backstory of Brandon Walker, a young entrepreneur who used that experience to start Beanie Blazer, a lifestyle engineering company which teaches people how to identify their life's purpose and then provides them the teaching, support, and community necessary for them to live a life in pursuit of their own self identifying purpose and goals. Brandon joined me this week to discuss his inspiring personal journey, his life as an entrepreneur, and more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. But Brandon, if you're ready, we'll get started and welcome you to the show. And we're excited to learn a little bit more about Beanie and Blazer and your personal journey. So thanks so much for being here this morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
So I'm wondering if we could start with your personal journey because you have quite the fascinating story. I know that you left college when you were 19 to become the senior vice president of a startup where you were able to lead a sales force. Ultimately, discover that you like being on the side of leadership. So could you tell me a little bit about your personal journey just to start us off this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. So I hail from Cleveland, Ohio, the Sunshine State. And back
Very
in,
funny.
I graduated high school in 2012 and went to go play college basketball for a small school in Michigan. Started playing basketball and started a bike taxi company where I would take people from brewery to brewery with one of those pedicab things, just pedaling my ass off, and fell in love with the idea of entrepreneurship. Sort of discovered that in college and what that feels like. And ultimately, I decided to stop playing basketball in pursuit of business and entrepreneurship. And so I ended up transferring down to University of North Carolina, Wilmington. My dad lived in the area and got connected through the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship with a local family of entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, that were starting a company called NextGlass. And NextGlass was a consumer app. It was like Pandora for wine and beer. So the idea was we use this instrument called a liquid chromatography mass spectrometer, or an LCMS. And we went and bought thousands and thousands of bottles of beer and wine and ran it through this instrument to identify the molecular makeup and chemical makeup of these beverages. The concept was we could tell you what recommendations you would like based on your actual taste profile. So the app launched, it was going really well. And ultimately, the founders of the company sort of hit a fork in the road where we had to decide, okay, are we going to raise a bunch of money to continue investing in marketing? Or can we purchase a company in the beer space that already has a big community? So we ended up buying the company Untappd, which is the biggest beer app in the world. There are 8 million users. And I started as an intern after going to a school called Draper University, which is in Silicon Valley. It's a pre-accelerator program founded by billionaire venture capitalist Tim Draper. And the idea is you learn everything you need to know about startups and entrepreneurship. So I went out to San Francisco, had that experience, came back to Next Glass as we're buying Untappd. And at 20, 21 years old, I was tasked with starting to sell business software to bars, restaurants, breweries, liquor stores. Knew nothing about sales, knew nothing about software, and very quickly had to learn how to build a team, how to do sales, how to learn CRMs and tools to facilitate our growth. And over the next 5 years, earned a couple promotions to director of sales, VP of sales, SVP of sales. I was the 8th employee. We grew to over 120. And back in March, the company sold to a growth equity firm to continue accelerating the business. And so at that time, I ended up leaving to found Beanie Blazer, which is a lifestyle engineering company. And the idea is I leverage all of what I trained my sales staff and as an advisor for other companies, personal and professional development, identifying your core personal values and habits and behaviors. The idea is to bring these mental frameworks and universal truths to people so that they can find their purpose in life and begin working towards that instead of just accepting what's sort of been predefined for us by society. And that's where I am today. We're in the process of launching the company, posting essays and podcasts and all that good stuff.
Good stuff. So tell me, how's it going, and what's the biggest reward that you've gotten launching the company and then going full-fledged into entrepreneurship?
So things are going really well. We are preparing for the launch of our first product called the Mindset Accelerator. It's a 6-week course designed to teach you, again, everything you need to know about aligning your personal values with your behaviors to live in pursuit of your life's purpose. And so in preparation for the beta launch, we've begun launching essays. We're recording our podcast, which is going to launch in September. And I would say for me, the biggest learning experience so far has been just the innate level of ownership that you have when the buck stops with you with your own company, right? Like, despite being an executive at Untappd, ultimately final decisions were not mine, whether it was related to culture or strategy or anything else. And so there's a lot of pros and cons that come with carrying that weight on your shoulders. You have full autonomy, but you're responsible for outcomes, good, bad, or otherwise.
And tell me, what are you hoping is the ultimate sort of end goal with Beanie and Blazer?
Our mission is to transform the lives of millions of people through education, lifestyle engineering, and community. And so by the time, we can call ourselves successful, my goal is to bring awareness to some of these principles and truths and help people change their lives for the better by way of controlling what they can control, taking ownership of their outcomes, and building a tribe of supporters and mentors around them on their way. And so we look at ourselves as a vehicle through which those philosophies can be translated for people.
And then can you tell me, for me personally, I think a lot of people get lost in the outcome of the journey rather than embracing the process. Would you agree with that sentiment as well?
I have a tattoo on my shoulder. It's a J. Cole lyric that says, "Beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success." And the idea is life is just a big journey, right? There is no, I made it. We're all living these lives, figuring it out as we go, just trying to do what we can to feel fulfilled and do positive things for ourselves and for other people. And as soon as you start orienting your life success around some sort of milestone, whether it's wealth accumulation or the size of your family or some other metric, you sort of lose sight of the fact that this is one great big odyssey, and there's something beautiful in every moment, every day, every interaction. And so I think it's vital for people to seek out novel experiences and unique conversations to continue reminding them to stay present and grounded in the struggle, because I think the process is amazing.
And then I know for you personally, sort of coming into your inner self, you go on adventures in California and Mexico. So could you bring me into that journey, and how is that in terms of finding yourself and giving you purpose personally?
Great question. So again, the idea of novel experiences, the way that I look at it is I like to push myself out of my comfort zone as often as possible, because it one, shows me what my full capacity is, and two, it just grounds you. It keeps you present in what you're experiencing. And so for me, I enjoy things like barefoot running, where it's just you versus the pavement. The experience that you're referring to, the first time I ever rode a dirt bike was crossing the border from California into Mexico to go on what's called an enduro motorcycle trip. And so it was me, 7 other guys, 4 days, 500 miles of dirt bike terrain in the desert and mountains in Mexico. And I got my ass kicked. And so that whole journey was a massive, massive learning experience as to what my actual potential is, like how far I can push my physical body and mind. And so derivative of that experience I started curating what would later become Beanie and Blazer, about pushing your comfort zone and seeking out things that are going to challenge you to make you feel alive and full. So yeah, that was one of the craziest adventures I've ever been on. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Just to follow up from that, finish the sentence for me. What's the best part of living life for Brandon Walker, if you had to finish that sentence?
The best part of living life for Brandon Walker is having opportunities to meet new people and have new experiences. So for example, you and I connected via the internet, right, on a platform called matchmaker.fm. You live in Canada, I live in the US. We never would have met otherwise. I got to discover your amazing story and how you've fought through struggle and challenge to be where you are, building the channel that you are. And I believe that through serendipity or destiny or whatever, you're put in contact with people at the right times to have to make an impact on yourself and others. So I think the best thing for me is I love having these conversations and I stretch for them as much as I can.
And then my final question for you is, once your ultimate book of life has been written, what do you hope that your legacy is, or what do you hope to be remembered by?
I think by the time it's all said and done, I have accomplished my life's purpose if I have had a huge positive impact on people, on an individual and on a societal level. I think that we are conditioned to believe that there is a right way of living life. And at least in the US, we call it the American dream, right? You try to be popular, you go to college, you get a corporate job, you make money, you have a family, you buy a house with a picket fence. There's this prescription that we've been told is the right way of doing things. And I believe that the journey is actually far more individualized, that my goals in life are going to be very different than yours. My values, the way that I want to live my life and have my experiences, are going to be different from yours. And I think in order for everybody to feel fulfillment in their life, they have to identify what that means for them and start living in alignment with those values. And so by the time it's all said and done for me, if that's a message that I've translated out to the world and people begin making those changes in their lives and see the outcomes, I would say that I have been successful with my mission.
Fantastic, Brandon. And tell me, if people want to get in contact with Beanie and Blazer, how do they do that?
Yeah, so Kevin, I actually put together an ebook for your listeners as a free giveaway. It's a 15-page ebook all about how to go from feeling restless and feeling like there's some change that I want to make. Think COVID, right? Our lifestyles got blown up. Now is an opportunity to reset and figure out what we want to do moving forward. So the ebook is called From Restless to Relentless. It's all about values and habits and mindset and building a tribe so you can find that personal success that I've described. And so the link for that is beanieandblazer.com/giveaway. And I'll send you the link if you want to add it to the show notes. Totally free, just something for your listeners to check out. If folks would like to follow me personally, my Twitter is bwalk, BWALK_12, bwalk12. I post a lot about performance, happiness, fulfillment, all that good stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah, make sure to send me the link, and I'll be sure to include it in the interview and into the description. I want to thank you for your time this morning, Brandon. Really enjoyed the conversation, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day.